Hujam, what part of your person's ego would make them not feel comfortable or not want to be part of the jamaat?
Which part of the ego? All of the ego. Which part of the ego does not want himself to be part of the jamaat? It's all of the ego. And it's shaitanic. The angels, they make sajda in jamaat. Shaitan is the only one who's outside of the jamaat to say, no, I don't want to make a sajda. The ego is declaring lordship. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. That's the mother, that's how you say it. Let's renew our shahadat saying, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Our brother asks, which part of the ego it is that is making us not to want to be in a jamaat? First, we have to understand the ego, the origins of the ego. Before the ego is sent down into our bodies, into this world, what it was before it was together with the spirit in our bodies, correct? What it was, what was it trying to do? What was its aim? What was its aim? Grab that kid a little bit every time I have to say, zikr, let them to run around. Now, we're listening to something, maybe Shaykh is sending to us. Hold them 10, 15 minutes, then we can continue. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So which part of the ego is that? It is all of the part of the ego. What is the aim of the ego? The ego is saying, not only am I not part of the jamaat, but I am the only one that is existing. The ego is saying, I'm the only one that matters. Everything else is for my service. The ego is saying to Allah, not to angels, not to you and me, not to shaitan, not to Allah, the creator, saying, you are you and I am me. Saints, they are saying, Allah is saying, who am I? The ego is saying, who am I? Questioning back and challenging. So the ego is saying that I am Lord. You are creator, you exist, I exist. Separately, I exist, I am worthy of worship. Which is why we're saying we don't see our ego as worse than what? Shaitan. Shaitan is breaking away from the jamaat. As worse than Firaun. Firaun is saying what? Ana Rabbul Ala. I'm your highest Lord. Huh? If we don't see our ego as worse than Nemrut, Nemrut is saying what? I'm declaring lordship and I'm going to go to kill Allah. If we're not saying to our ego that our ego is worse than shaitan, if shaitan is saying, you are wrong. Now you look at all this. Firaun, Nemrut, shaitan, worse than Abu Jahl. If you look at all these ones, 3 of them, they are men. And 1 is not from a man category. When you look at how Firaun is declaring lordship, Nemrut is declaring lordship, Abu Jahl is declaring himself to be prophet. He's saying this one is prophet, I should be. And in reality they should be worshipping me. If we look at it, what is shaitan standing? He doesn't have a chance standing next to them. Because shaitan is not declaring lordship. Shaitan is not saying, Ana Rabbul Ala. Shaitan is not saying, I'm a prophet. Shaitan is just saying one time to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one time, you are wrong. How many times we say to Allah, in one way or another, you are wrong. Every time we complain, every time we say why, every time that we are not being thankful to our Lord, every time we are challenging Him, we are declaring our Lordship. So that time, yes, our ego is worse than all this. Because Shaitan did it once, but the ego does it again and again and again, which is why we have to catch this. What is the worst enemy? What is the worst enemy? The enemy that you can see or the enemy that you cannot see? Which one? Any intelligent man is going to see, of course, the enemy that you cannot see. Because the enemy that you can see, you can aim, you can bring down, because you can recognize it. It has a shape, it has a time, it has a space, it has everything, and you know. What about the enemy that you cannot see? You don't know. It can be anywhere. Those who are against Allah and His prophets, physically, we can see them. But the ego that is supported by Shaitan is an enemy that you cannot see. That is not only you cannot see, but it is inside of you. It's not outside. It's inside of you. It's not occupying your nose or your ears. It's occupying the throne of Allah. Understand this. Your heart. The ego, it is occupying your heart. The throne of Allah. Now understand now the danger of the ego. How dangerous is it? Why Prophet ﷺ is concentrating on that, saying we've come from the small jihad to the big one, fighting against your nafs. That is saying the danger of the nafs is so dangerous that, oh my Lord, don't leave me to my nafs, to my ego, even in the blink, for a blink of an eye. It is so dangerous. What about the ego in the Akhir Zaman? Those who are understanding a little bit of the outside world, then they understand. And they understand, they say, this is human. Humans, they can do such a thing. Humans, they can. Kids, now, not 100 years ago, not 50 years ago even, now it's becoming common. They're just telling me. We're hearing here and there, but when we hear with someone who has experienced it, that is a real knowledge. That even if we are not experiencing it, but we are hearing from someone who really experienced it, it's going to touch us, which is Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, the best kind of knowledge is the knowledge that you experience. And that one telling me, little kid have argument with his mother. Little kid is saying, I want to go home at this time. Mother says, no, you have to go home at this time. He says, no, yes, no, yes, no. They argue, they separate, they went to sleep. He takes a gun and he shoots his mother. Okay? Little kid. In 21st century, high intelligence, high technology, high civilization. And when the mother is still twitching, because shot in the head, not dead yet, takes a baseball bat and starts beating up the mother. Carrying her, dump her into a trash can. Then when the trash man opens it in the morning, finds a dead body, tells the kid, is this your mother? He says, yeah, it's my mother. No feeling, no nothing. It's happening everywhere. First world, the curse of the first world. Yes. So then they turn around, those who have some understanding, say this is human. Cannot be human. Yes, flesh and blood is the same. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 1 mouth. But it's impossible. If you don't have faith, you cannot put 2 and 2 together, you go crazy. Either you're going to kill or you're going to kill yourself. You say, I cannot accept this. Intelligence cannot accept this. Faith cannot accept this. So this is not coming from the species of the human. They are. But the ego now completely overtakes. And the ego overtakes regardless of whether you're Jewish, you're Christian, or you're Muslim. Whether you're black, or you're white, or you're yellow, or you're red, or you're brown. It does not look at nationality. It does not look at religion. It does not look at male, female, young or old. if that ego completely overtakes you, then you're going to become its slave. Then that time is going to say, you're going to listen to me, because I'm your highest Lord. Ana Rabbul Ala. Everyone must bow down to me. I'm the only one that matters. Understand, they're teaching tarikat about the evils of the ego. How important it was hundreds of years ago, but hundreds of years ago was not like today. Hundreds of years ago, 100 years ago, there was still a ruling khalifa. Islam was ruling. It was not kufr that is ruling. The Muslims, they were praying 5 times a day, going to the masjids 5 times a day. Even the munafiqs were saying you have to go to the masjid 5 times a day, because if you don't, they're going to know that you're a munafiq. Even the munafiqs, they're saying you have to pray. You have to stay up and wait for Ishraq and pray. Ishraq, because you're crazy, you're going to sleep at this time. When there is a shariat, when there is no Facebook, when there is no internet, when there is no shaitan television coming into every home and poisoning everything, when everything was according to the rule of Islam, and they say, watch your ego, the evils of your ego, how your ego can rule you and destroy. If it was necessary at that time, it must be 1,000,000,000 times necessary now. Because everywhere we turn, there is nothing that is reminding you of Allah. Nothing. Go out to the streets. Which is why it's important time to time to go to nature. Because nature, impossible way in nature, we say there is no creator. Those scientists, they're saying nature is like this or like that by itself. They are saying the most nonsense things. They don't believe. We cannot. Intelligence is not accepting. If this small thing, if this technology, the camera and everything can be, it has to be produced, there has to be an inventor, it has to be created, then what about the human body? That everything is perfectly in line. From the human body to the galaxies, if the sun moves 1 millimeter closer to us, we're dead. If it moves 1 millimeter further away from us, then we're dead. We're going to be completely blasted in the frozen cold. Everything is perfectly balanced. It's not only created perfectly, but it's perfectly balanced. Who is doing this? There must be a creator. There has to be. But the ego is saying, not looking at anything, just looking at itself and what it wants. Ego, supported by shaitan. Ego, supported by the nafs. Ego, supported by the desires. Yes, and these are the 4 things that tarikat is teaching you how to watch out in order to become a human. Because Allah, we listened to the khutbah this morning, didn't we? Shaykh Efendi is saying, we have been created in ahsani taqweem to be the Khalifatullah. That is not even given to the angels. You can go higher from the angels, higher than the angels. But if you don't, the form is a human, and you go lower than the animals. Yes, those ones who are killing, who are murdering, who are doing all sorts of cruelty everywhere in this world. Doesn't matter your religion, your race, your nationality, that these ones are lower than the animals. Because only animals, they're able to do that. But we see not even the animals, they're doing that. So, this is a very important point, that we should be trained, we should wake up, we should understand the value at that time of a guide. All these is teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. You think the Prophet ﷺ is going to teach anything different? Imagine now, think to yourself, if the Prophet did not pass 1400 years, if the Prophet ﷺ continued to live from that time until now, do you think he's going to say anything different? What do we mean by when we say that the awliya Allah, they're the spiritual inheritors of the Prophet? Which means that they have the spirit of the Prophet and they're continuing his work. What the Prophet is going to give, He is continuing. Physically, they are different, but spiritually, they are the same. That one is coming from the Prophet. So, understand then the value of the guide, of the shaykh. How the shaykh is then dealing with you. And you can only learn yourself, understand yourself truly, if you're in a jamaat. Alone, it is not. It's impossible. Every man alone, they get into illusion and delusion. Alone, they think that they are something. When you're in a jamaat, because first it is an order. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, be in jamaat. It's not a choice. It's an order. When you are in a jamaat, then you're going to understand more yourself. You're going to understand more the world. You're going to understand now that time. Oh, you think you're such a nice person? Of course, because you've never been tested. But you're going to be next to a person who is going to test you. And in reality, everything is perfect. Everything is perfectly balanced. The shaykh is balancing 1 to 1 to 1, everything nicely and perfectly, as long as your heart and your will and your desire is the same as our shaykh, inshallah rahman. So, jamaat is important. It is an order. No animal in the world is alone. They are always in jamaat. Even the wolf, time to time. What is it? It's stopping us. Because we're saying, I don't like this one, I don't get along with this one, I don't agree with this one, I have a different idea from this one. Still, the idea is you. You're looking at yourself. We're not communists to say everyone is the same. We're in Jamaat, no, everyone is different, everyone is unique, everyone has a secret. And that shaykh is then able to pull out the secret from you, for you to achieve your own station that Allah has created for you. Never He has created for someone else, never ever He will create for anyone else that station that He has created for you. And the shaykh will pull that out from you and make you to reach to that station. That is Allah's will. That is the Prophet's will. That is the will of awliya to put you to that station that Allah has created for you. But no, mankind is running top speed to go to Jahannam. Running after your ego, running after your desires, running after this dunya, running after shaitan. Definitely you're going to go end up in hellfire. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create us for hellfire. He created us for paradise. We were from paradise. We're going to go back to it, inshallah rahman. But if we go with a program that Allah has put to us, definitely we're going to go to paradise. Otherwise, they're saying, Ya Allah, there is no fire in paradise. You bring. There is no fire in Jahannam. But you bring your own fire to Jahannam. Yes. There is no fire in paradise. But for those ones who are always snarling and biting and being so nasty, little thing, saying, oh, I'm good Muslim and this or that, you touch them a little bit, they're going to be so upset. Yes, there is no fire in paradise, but you bring a fire to paradise. Paradise is supposed to be your area, it's supposed to be your station, but you bring it. That time, yes, you're going to burn the paradise. You're going to turn that paradise to a hell. You think that time, if you're bringing light to hell, the hell is going to be a hell? No, it's going to turn to become a paradise. Just as when you threw Ibrahim alayhi salam into the fire, it turned, that fire, that hell turned to a paradise, turned to a rose garden. But it's because of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and his faith and his love and his submission. May we have love and faith and submission to our shaykh and to this way, inshallah. And for our children, for them to be in the Sirat al-Mustaqim. For all those who have passed, for them to find safety, inshallah. And for these dark and confusing days to come, for us to be clear, for us to be strong, and for us to be in jamaat. Wa min Allah tawfiq Fatiha. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alright. Any questions? Anyone has? Go bring something. These are those who are doing it in the kitchen. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. So this is zikr. Those who are here, you got something. Those who are not here, lick your hand. Those who are not here because they cannot be, because they're in other countries, their heart is here, may our Shaykh send you more. Ameen. But those who are just next door, we have now murids, they pack up all the things. They see Shaykh and he's not around. Literally, they pack up all the things, they run without even letting us know. They become like thieves, like gypsies. You think that time, your dunya and your akhirah is going to be easy? Wait and see. Wait and see. You forgot that time when you were in hell. You think you brought yourself out from here because the ego does not like this place. Of course the ego is not going to like this place. The ego is going to say this is hell. This is a paradise. But if you're not from the people of paradise, even if you put you to paradise, you can say this is hell. If you're a people of paradise, if you put you to hell, it's going to turn to a paradise. So what are you turning? It's still the man. The man is going to transform. Inside and out, he's the one who's given the power and the secret to transform. Yeah, you're leaving everything, you're running off. Go. See how far you're going to run. The leash is Shaykh in his hands. He's going to pull. But you forgot those days when you were squeezed so tight, day and night, and you were calling and you were ringing and saying, please accept us. Please take us back. Please. Man, this is ego. This is ego. You forget. But you will remember. Man will remember only when he's being squeezed. But we don't want to be like that. We don't want to be like animals. We want to be human. Yeah. So, we are here. Alhamdulillah. We should be here together, dunya and akhirah. Inshallah. Alright. Drink your tea except for Bayram because he is sleeping. Bayram he's sleeping, Juma he's sleeping, Thursday he's sleeping, Monday he's sleeping, Wednesday he's sleeping. Okay, wait, I'm gonna fix. Yeah. So all those who are watching, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May your Eid be blessed. We are away, inshallah, for the future to be open. But those ones who are near and they're not coming and they have no real reason for that, they want to make a business with Shaykh and they want to make a business with Allah, saving a couple of dollars here and there, or doing this, saving some time here and there. Yeah. If you guys from New Jersey, you decide not to come, it's going to be very difficult, let me tell you that. If you come immediate now, the madad, the support will come. If you don't, if you cut yourself off, you remain ignorant and arrogant and stubborn, then you're going to feel it right away. Shouldn't be. Should not be, inshallah. So, Assalamu alaikum.